1, 2, 3. And welcome into the WECT Digital Studio. I'm John Evans, along with Gabe Ross of the WECT First Alert Weather Team. We are bringing you an update on where everything stands with the winter storm that is headed to southeastern North Carolina. And another reason we're doing this is because the inauguration of President Donald Trump is still continuing in Washington, D.C., and we are airing that on WECT. And so this is the first time in several hours we've had the opportunity to give you an update. So we brought Gabe in here. We are live on our Facebook page, WECT Facebook page. We're also on WECT.com and our news app and the WECT YouTube channel as well. So if you have any questions, we'll try to get them to Gabe. But first, I guess we're going to give us the latest update. I'm going to punch up your graphics here and see what you can do as far as updating everybody where everything stands right now.
Yeah, this is probably the thing that everyone got during the course of the overnight, and that was this cold weather advisory. Really two facets to this winter storm. The first facet is the cold air, some of the coldest air we've seen in years. Yes, we have had cold weather advisories in place before, but we'll be talking actual air temperatures that'll get down deep into the teens. For now, this is going to be issued for wind chill values that'll get down well into the teens, below that 15-degree threshold. Could even be some spots that have wind chill values in the upper single digits.
Wow.
So it's some major cold that we're dealing with here. So really, the big thing is that extra cold weather preps are going to be a must. And you see, it's not just us here in the Lower Cape Fear. A good chunk of the Carolinas having to deal with these cold weather advisories. So that's overnight. It officially kicks off at 10. We'll wrap up tomorrow morning around 9 or 10 at the latest. Now, if you've been watching inauguration coverage, you may have seen this crawl up on your screen around 3 o'clock or so. The National Weather Service has gone ahead and pulled the trigger on a winter storm watch. Now, this will be because of the wintry precipitation we're likely to see. And yes, most of this, I think, is going to come in the form of snow. So really, this is going to be the big time to start paying attention, sort of mid-afternoon to close to sunset tomorrow, up through around daybreak Wednesday morning. This will likely get upgraded to a winter storm warning within the next 12 to 24 hours. It's just kind of the natural progression of things. Let's talk impacts, because really this is an impact-based forecast. We're not so worried about the exact amount of snow that's going to fall. Why? Because moisture, in this case, rain to snow, works on about a 10-to-1 ratio. We can tell you impact-wise, we're going to be dealing with temps below freezing. We are going to be dealing with wind chill values in the teens and perhaps single digits. Snow showers, the primary form of precipitation this is going to take. In addition to that, we'll talk some travel issues. We'll talk concerns with power outages. Let's start with the temps. Up at the very top, you see the yellow to red progression on your screen. That means impacts possible to trending likely. So Tuesday evening all the way through the wee hours Wednesday to daybreak. Afterwards, those temperatures lighten up just a little bit, but will continue to dip back below freezing again Wednesday night into Thursday in perhaps a bigger way. Those wind chill values, again, in the teens, upper single digits. We'll have them below freezing, likely around that sunset time frame, and they'll continue to dip back, again, wee hours toward daybreak. It's traditionally our coldest time here of the day. Will be the overnight and right around daybreak. Snow shower chances picking up close to sunset. Probably our best chance of more robust snow showers coming Tuesday evening through the overnight. I would imagine around daybreak there may be one or two flurries left over, handful of flurries left over by that point. By midday, I think the system done and off the coast. Sunshine likely emerging again, but it's going to be cold. Big concern I would have would be travel issues. Now, we know southeastern North Carolina is not one that sees, winter weather all that much,
and
right?
We have a reputation for driving, too.
We do. We like to go, 60 and a 25, right? I'm
yes.
being sarcastic, of course, but people want to get places quick. And a lot of this is going to depend on our friends over at NCDOT to make sure that the roads are taken care of and cleared. So any travel issues that do emerge, I think will happen after sunset once we start to get some more of the transition to snow showers through the overnight. So if you don't have to work the graveyard shift, most of this is going to happen while you're sleeping. But first thing Wednesday, if the roads aren't cleared out or if there are some spots that are dealing with maybe a little drifting snow, because this is likely going to be a lighter variety snow that we deal with. It's not going to be the thick, wet stuff, at least in most cases, even off to the northwest of the Wilmington metro proper. That's where that big concern is going to come in. Even around midday, if some of the roads aren't cleared, that would linger. One thing I will note is that power outages, at the very bottom, you see unlikely impacts there. And I think that's important, mainly because, John, this is going to be a wintry a mainly snow kind of event. So
right.
A big changeover to freezing rain, not looking likely. It's not impossible, mind you, but I think you're more likely to see snow than you will any accumulating ice. So that's got to help.
And that was different from last week when they thought maybe we would get some snow, then some ice or freezing rain on top of it, correct?
Correct. And, this is par for the course when it comes to forecasting. We get into the long-range, lower-resolution models. They paint these different scenarios. We're looking for different trends, similarities, differences.
Right.
Toward the end of the week, we had some models that were saying, hey, this could be some substantial snow, right? But all dependent on that area of high pressure. That area of high pressure is going to nose in some more dry air. And in addition to that, that low pressure, or at least sort of the bands that are coming off the coast, you'd have to deal with a little bit of influx of dry air. So as a result, I don't think the accumulations are going to live up to that generational chance. It's all just a part of the changing forecast, kind of like when we do tropical storms, right? Those numbers will change. Closer you get to an event, the more confidence you typically have. So we've got some high confidence that this is likely going to be a snow shower kind of event, and maybe a nuisance for some. It depends on, how you look at it. Glass half empty, glass half full. Maybe you want to go sledding and enjoy it, but maybe you have to travel in it. And then that's where the big concerns really do come in.
Okay, let's go back to your graphics here and let you continue with what you're talking about. Power outages without the ice.
Correct.
That we talked about. We're not going to be in as much potential issue for that, right?
Right. Now, the big caveat would be if there were, if there was more ice to really develop onto power lines or perhaps some already weakened tree limbs. We go through tropical storms like crazy, and with it being cold, the trees in sort of a hibernative state, if you will, they're not at their strongest. And so even a little bit of ice could cause some down branches, maybe as a result, if they're close to a power line, some issues there. But widespread, like quarter, half-inch ice. Not looking likely. Again, not impossible, but I want to say it's not looking likely. So it'd have to be an extreme outcome for that really to come to fruition. This is probably what everyone wants to see, the future radar model. I do want to include temperature and wind chill value on here. Again, it's part of this system, and it's important that we talk about. So here's 8 o'clock tonight. Temperatures are back below freezing, so within the next hour we're there. Some spots a little quicker, some spots maybe a little longer. Clouds are going to start to move in. Here's daybreak. Notice the air temps in the lower 20s, those wind chill values below that 15-degree threshold, hence the cold weather advisory. Now watch what happens tomorrow afternoon. Here's pretty much peak heating time. We're going to be lucky if we can get above freezing. I think most spots do, but just barely. And the wind chill values are going to still feel like it's below freezing. Clouds have thickened up at this point. We're tapping into that Arctic air mass. And there it is, north and even some northeasterly breezes as we hit the real heart of that cold. Going to take you forward here. Around this time, we could start to see our first flurries move in. 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. If you live close to the coast, maybe you're along Brunswick County, Highway 17 will include Pender County, New Hanover County into that. Yeah, there's the potential we've got more robust snow showers at this point.
Okay, we had a question here on Facebook Live. Actually, two people. One wants to talk about Onslow County.
Sure.
One wants to talk about Horry County. And I see there, it's really going to be a coastal event here at this point, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And thank you guys for tuning in from Horry County and, of course, Onslow. Do not want to discount you in this whatsoever. But yeah, think about where that Highway 17 line runs, and pretty much all along Highway 17. So that will include Pender. That'll include Duplin. That'll be starting to head up the Crystal Coast a little bit. We're going to be dealing with some of those snow showers, and that's where I would expect overall the highest chance of accumulating snow or perhaps a little freezing rain. You see in pink on your screen, maybe some spots along the southeastern tip of Brunswick County, southern New Hanover as well, into portions of extreme eastern Horry County that are dealing with a little bit of an influx of warm air at the mid-levels, and that would cause some of that snow falling to melt and then freeze on contact, because you see we have temperatures that are below freezing, so that would likely mean a little bit of ice that mix in. It does transition here, as you see, pretty much over to a snow event through the rest of the evening, overnight. Some of those intensities modeled out here are going to let up as we head toward 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Air temperatures still plenty cold, plenty below freezing. Those wind chill values still below 15. So I'd imagine another cold weather advisory coming here. But see the clearing that's starting to happen off to the west, and by lunchtime, sun shining. Some of the UV light will maybe help to melt things a little bit, but we're going to have to watch now Wednesday night into Thursday. Some of the stuff that has melted could refreeze. So bridges, overpasses, those kind of things that we're concerned about again. So lots that could change. I've got this boom or bust graphic on here too. And we've talked a lot about this.
I saw this earlier. I used this. I was on and just giving everybody an update about 10 after 6. And I use this graphic because I think this really kind of shows the highest percentage that of the possibilities. Not guaranteed, but a really good graphic here showing you what's most likely to happen.
Yeah, and it's great for us to be able to update things on here like we can. So it just shows you our confidence is growing in a particular outcome. I will say confidence is growing that this is not going to be a bust event. I think everyone at least seeing some flurries to a dusting, if anything, and I do not see this as being a generational snow event. Now, I'll remind you that 1 to 10 ratio, think about it, an inch of rain would yield 10 inches of snow. So when we're talking tenths of an inch of precipitation, that could make the difference between a couple inches here or there. But I do not see this being a generational event unless something absolutely astonishing happens, and this is just based off modeling. But odds growing, at least some flurries to a coating, so some nuisance spots, to still a possibility close to the coast of 2, maybe 3, 4, up to about 5 inches. So it'd be memorable, certainly compared back to 2018. That was one of the last times we had a decent snow around here. So all worth looking at the statistics and everything here. Let's try to illustrate this as best as possible. I've got a few different models, and then I have our in-house model that I want to show you. We'll start you at 8 o'clock. All of these are going to start at 8 o'clock and take us all the way through Wednesday afternoon. So sunset, the GFS a little lighter on some of these snowfall amounts, but still a dusting off to the north, the trend of 1 to 2, maybe 3 to 4 inches close to the coast. Now, we're talking a very, interesting boundary line, maybe like 20, 30 miles or so in terms of difference. The Euro lining up with this as well. So we don't have any models that are painting, oh my goodness, these huge variances in snowfall amounts, but the highest amounts are going to be near the coast. The Euro, I think, a little more bullish on accumulating snowfall. And if we look at our high-res model, it's going to give you some specifics, but take all of this as guidance,
right?
As we do here in the First Alert Forecast Center. It sort of lines up a little better, in my opinion, with the European model that we have. So confidence growing here. We'll see some accumulating snow, and with cold temperatures, those will stick around a little bit too. In that same vein, let's talk a little bit of ice. This is the European model, and this keeps us more of a snow event. So understandably so, we've got higher snowfall amounts and a little less in terms of ice. Bit opposite here with the latest GFS modeling, and that actually paints a little more of a warm air intrusion. So same scenario. If you're in southeastern Brunswick County, maybe along the coast of Horry County, southern New Hanover, maybe even a couple pockets here just based on this modeling in Pender County, could be a little bit of glaze that goes in with the snow. And we'll take this back to our high resolution ice modeling, and it's, still painting the scenario, at least along the coast, perhaps a brief changeover, but nothing major accumulating, especially inland. I don't think there are going to be that many concerns with power outages. It would really be the exception to the rule.
Right. Okay. And we're getting some. I'm going to ask you, if you can,
sure,
sir, to go back to the high-res snowfall model, snowfall numbers, because we're getting people who are asking here. We are doing, we've got somebody's asking about Southport, somebody's asking about Bladen County. So I'm going to punch these back up again here and just show you, this is the model that you're talking about. It's pretty much, I wouldn't say consensus, but like you said, there's no real outlier here that paints 7 or 8. So look at Bladen County, an inch, maybe an inch and a half. Whiteville, almost 2. Sunset Beach, Jacksonville, all along the coast, 3 to 4, as you guys are saying, 2 to 5.
Yeah.
So Kenansville, Clinton, Fayetteville, it's likely everywhere in southeastern North Carolina is, hit it twice, going to get some snow here.
Exactly. And the key takeaway is the closer to the coast you are, likely the higher those totals are going to be. So if we were to go, town by town, we would be on this live for several hours.
And that's why I had you put that back on.
Yeah. And so you can take a look, basically at that map and get an idea that, hey, if you live along the coast, pretty much along Highway 17, you can expect more than maybe spots up near Highway 701 or even I-95 for that matter. So, yeah.
And somebody else here. Hold on, I forgot.
Sure.
I want to ask who it is. Doris asking. Travel tomorrow, noon hour. That's really kind of before a lot of the stuff happens, but you don't want to be on the road much longer. She wants to go from, I guess, Loris to Tabor City around noon tomorrow.
I think that should be fine, quite honestly. I don't anticipate really a lot of the snow flurries starting until at the earliest, like mid-afternoon to around sunset. So that's like 3, 4, 5 o'clock time frame. If you're heading off to the north, maybe from, we'll pick a spot, we'll say the Wilmington Metro up I-40 or up along I-95, and you're heading off to the northwest, that shouldn't be a real big issue for you there either. What I would be concerned about is anyone that's got to, again, maybe work the late shift, or they're coming home after 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock. Take your time getting home. I'll tell you personally, I'm working the night shift tomorrow with Eric. I am packing an overnight bag because I'm not sure quite what the roads are going to do. That is going to be up to NCDOT to make sure that those roads are addressed.
They've been out there. They've been brining and
exactly.
all that stuff. Yeah.
And thank goodness we've got them doing yeoman's work out there for sure.
Yep.
But I would also be concerned a little bit about airline travel. Depending on if planes can get de-iced, if the runway. I'm not 100% certain what ILM Airport has set up to accommodate these things, but just be prepared for the possibility. Hey, Wednesday morning could be, a little difficult to get from point A to point B if some of those roads are not properly cleared out.
Okay, next up, we're going to try to give you an update. We've had some people asking about schools. So this is where the school systems are at this point in time for the next 2 days. We do know New Hanover County schools tomorrow. This is Tuesday. Most of the schools are on workday. The others that are not on a normal workday for tomorrow will be remote learning. So most of the schools in New Hanover County will be on a workday tomorrow. Those who would normally be in school will go remote learning. Pender County schools will be on early release tomorrow. They will release early for all schools. Brunswick County, teacher workday tomorrow. Bladen County schools, remote learning tomorrow. And Columbus County schools also on a teacher workday. Now, give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
And I will move over to here.
Okay.
And this is Wednesday. New Hanover County, again, will provide an update tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow afternoon, maybe tomorrow night, on what Wednesday's plans will be. So we don't know 100% for New Hanover County schools. We will get an update tomorrow. Pender County, and hold on.
Standing by.
That I misspelled Pender there.
Hey, the M and the N are right next to each other. We've done it a million times.
Pender County will be on a minimum 2-hour delay. That could change. Now, we're told that might change for Pender County on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So right now, it is a minimum 2-hour delay. Brunswick County remote learning, Bladen County remote learning, and Columbus County, once again, is in a closed for the workday on Wednesday. So that's where the schools are at this point in time. We have heard UNCW is closing after tomorrow afternoon, Cape Fear Community College. All that is on the WECT.com and WECT News app as far as all of the schools are concerned. And at this point in time, we'll do some more Facebook Lives tomorrow. But what are you watching in the next 8 to 12 hours?
Next 8 to 12 hours will be some additional model consistency and just make sure that these numbers continue to line up. The impacts, more than likely, folks, are not going to change between now and the next 24 hours. The only thing that maybe would be if we get a better indication of some warm air at the mid-levels or perhaps high pressure nosing in some drier air as a result and maybe pushing the system a little farther to the southeast. It will still be kind of a now-casting scenario as we get into tomorrow. Those that have maybe moved down here recently from the north, this is something I always like to put out. Hey, listen, again, southeastern North Carolina does not get snow all that often, and especially in cases like this where it could accumulate this much. So I know that up north they've got this figured out down to a science. I was just up at Poughkeepsie a couple weeks ago, and it was great. They got a couple inches of snow. The roads are fine. It's a little different down here. So that's why you may hear your neighbors, a little concerned about this. That said, if you're staying put on Wednesday, get outside and enjoy it. How often does this happen, John? It does not happen very often.
Take a picture, send it to the family and friends, post it on Facebook, post it on Instagram, or better yet, go to See It, Snap It, Send It on WECT.com and show us, if you can safely, show us how much snow you've gotten where you are or what the conditions are where you are. And to take your point one step further, we are seeing a lot of people, 1 or 2 inches, come on. And again, your point is well taken. People from Wilmington and southeastern North Carolina who are from here aren't used to driving in slippery conditions. Flooded roads, they can navigate those 9 times out of 10. But this kind of conditions, which is the reason why we're doing this, which is the reason why the DOT is brining roads, which is the reason why students are on remote learning tomorrow and the next day. It doesn't happen here very often. And so when it does, we have to make sure that we take our responsibility seriously. Our weather team has been on top of this for the better 10 days. You guys have been talking about the possibility of this. DOT and everybody else. So we hope we've answered your questions. You could always send emails into the WECT Newsroom. Reach out to either one of us. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, before we go, if you don't mind, if you pop up Max 1 more time, I do want to take us through the short term. Again, we're talking temps tonight, and just remind you, outdoor animals, outdoor people tonight with that cold weather advisory, please make sure they have extra protections. I know that the warming shelters are going to be opening, and thank God for that, because it's going to be mighty cold. So those wind chill values could dip there. Tomorrow, highs in the 30s, some of the coldest air we have seen in a long time here. Those flurries are going to be possible late, but overall the daytime should be dry. And then this is what I wanted to show, the 7-day forecast. Why? Because, well, we've been preempted with presidential inauguration coverage. And I point this out because, yes, Tuesday and Wednesday are first alert action days. But notice we had previously a couple first alert tags on Thursday and Friday. That was for the concern with this wave that's bringing in the same moisture to kind of move back in and maybe bring us a little freezing rain. I can tell you that threat is a little less. So you'll notice Friday that chance for cold precipitation has dropped. So as a result, we've dropped that alert tag. We may wind up doing the same thing for Thursday. So really it's Tuesday and Wednesday that you need to pay close attention to. Let's pull you out the next 10 days, shall we? Because, hey, look at that. We've got temps right back close to 60. So it may not be gone necessarily in a day or even two. But I think through the weekend and into early next week, we'll get the snow melt. And we'll be right back to our beautiful southeastern North Carolina norms here for late January.
But again, it's going to be let's use the word testy. 36 hours.
Sure.
But we have an idea that late tomorrow afternoon, early tomorrow evening, we'll start to see some of the flurries. And then it'll start probably accumulating more along the coast than inland. But inland, Bladen, Columbus, Sampson, Duplin, you're going to see snow likely as well. Best thing to do, download the WECT weather app. Stay in touch with us that way. Stay in touch on our website. The Facebook page, we will likely do more of these tomorrow, correct?
Yes, we'll do some more of these tomorrow. I'll really make a big effort to be updating Facebook quite a bit. So if you haven't followed me, Gabe Ross, WECT, easy search there. Give me a like, give me a follow. We'll get through this, and well, you know what? We'll talk about the seriousness, but we're also going to have a little fun with this as well.
All right. We appreciate you joining us right here on this WECT News Facebook Live Q&A. Thank you to all those of you who sent in questions. We hope we've answered some of those questions, and we will have WECT News tonight at 10 on Fox Wilmington. And WECT News tonight at 11 o'clock. You'll see Gabe and I and Francis Weller. We'll see you then. And again, stay warm and make sure you stay weather aware in the next 24, 36, and 48 hours. Thank you, everybody.
Take care.